Have you ever heard of a powerful anti-war poem with a title that sounds, well, like a complete lie? That's exactly what we're diving into today. We are going to deconstruct Stephen Crane's masterpiece, War is Kind.
I mean, right off the bat, the title just makes you stop and think, doesn't it? Is war kind? It seems totally impossible. But figuring out why Crane would even pose this question, well, that's the key to the whole thing.
And there it is. He doesn't just suggest it, he declares it. War is kind. But you have to understand, this simple statement isn't really a statement. It's more like a trap. And once you're in it, Crane exposes a really terrible truth about conflict.
So, how does this contradiction actually work? If we want to get a handle on this poem's lasting power, we've got to unpack this paradox. We need to figure out what Crane is really doing with these simple words. Okay, here's the full text of the poem, and as you can see, that line, war is kind, just keeps popping up again and again like this haunting chorus. So he's not just saying it once, he is hammering it home. The real question for us is, what images, what pictures does he put right next to that phrase?
And that brings us right to the imagery. Let's take a look at what Crane actually shows us right after he tells us that war is kind. And I'm telling you, this is where the poem's real power is going to hit you.
He starts by talking to a maiden whose lover was just killed, but listen to how he describes it. This is not some heroic death. The man threw wild hands towards the sky, his horse bolts in terror. It's just pure chaos and pain. And then, right after painting this picture, Crane says, "Do not weep, war is kind." Wow.
Next, he gives us this image of a father's death, and the detail is just so brutal. He tumbled, raged, gulped, and died. There is zero glory in that. It's just an ugly, painful end for someone's father. And still, the poem keeps insisting that this is kindness.
And just when you're focused on these really personal, individual tragedies, Crane pulls the camera way, way back. He zooms out to show us the unbelievable scale of it all, a field where 1,000 corpses lie. Suddenly, it's not about one person's pain anymore. It's about industrial-scale death. It's just overwhelming. So let's just recap. On one side, you've got these absolutely horrific images, and on the other, you have the phrase, war is kind. How on earth can those two things exist in the same poem? Well, Crane has a secret weapon, a powerful literary tool that holds it all together. So let's just ask it straight up. How can he possibly describe a field of 1,000 corpses, a father gasping his last breath, and a dead lover as kind? Is he just out of his mind, or is there something way, way smarter going on here?
The answer is a little thing called verbal irony. And it's actually a pretty simple idea. It's when you say the exact opposite of what you really mean. You know, like when you spill coffee all over your shirt and you say, "Oh, that's just great." That's verbal irony. Crane is doing the exact same thing, just for a much, much darker purpose.
And this is the crucial point right here. Crane never actually wants you to believe war is kind. Not for a second. He wants you to be outraged by the lie. By saying something so obviously false while showing you the brutal truth, he makes the horror of war impossible to ignore. The poem's power lives in that gap, that tension between the word and the reality.
But Crane isn't just stopping there with showing us the brutality. He's going after something bigger. He's attacking the propaganda. You know, all the stories and symbols used to sell war as some kind of glorious adventure. He's showing us the two faces of war, the myth and the reality.
And in the poem, he puts the glorious lie right next to the brutal truth. You see the booming drums and the blazing flag, all the stuff meant to get people fired up for battle. But then he hits you with the reality behind it. These men were born to drill and die. And that glorious flag, its real purpose is to justify the virtue of slaughter. It is an absolutely devastating takedown of those myths.
So, this poem was written way back in 1899. Why are we still talking about it today? Well, because its message is, unfortunately, timeless. Let's wrap things up by looking at why War is Kind continues to hit so hard. So what are the big takeaways here? Well, first, Crane uses irony to force us to see a brutal truth that we might otherwise just ignore. He teaches us to be suspicious of any language that tries to make something awful sound noble. And maybe most importantly, he gives us a tool to question the stories of glory that are so often used to justify conflict.
And so we end right back where we started, with this one single haunting line. But now, after everything we've seen, It doesn't sound comforting at all, does it? It sounds bitter. It sounds angry. It sounds like the truth.
And this is the poem's real challenge to us. Crane exposed the kind lie that was used to sell war in his time. So it forces us to look around and ask ourselves, what are the kind lies we're being told today? What brutal truths are being hidden behind comforting words right now?